just say this. Hello and welcome. We are here for another premier game in the HFDL League, and we've got Panic at the Discordia versus You Got Diffed. Two excellent teams, and I am very excited to see how this one turns out. I'm your host, Nathan DePaulo. With me also hosting is Henergy, one of my favorite people in the entire world. Say hello, Henergy.
Hello, Smite community.
That's right. Well, so this game coming up, we've already gotten into it. We've got the bands coming out, and I just want to talk about it. What do you think about what we're seeing here?
I think what we're seeing here is some pretty standard, just jungle-centric bans across the board. I think it's really an auto attacker meta, and with the recent buffs to Raven, it's no surprise to see him get banned as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Horus ban makes perfect sense. It's one of those mid-man specials in the jungle.
It is that I feel is targeted. We see the Bakasure. That's what he took out when the Horus was banned. So now we're going to see something new. Maybe it's this Cleo, but that might be going to solo as well. I do see Armor Wolf on the Freya again, and he was lights out with that last game. If we get a repeat performance, this is going to be a tough game for You Got Diffed.
Absolutely. Excellent performance on the Freya. The Cleo is a staple pick for Krasen at this point, so that's no surprise either.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on the other side, we got the Daji locked in. Not a terrible pick, given how many jungle bans we've seen, and we've got the Lancelot being Hubbard. I don't think he's
Mm-hmm.
playable at this point, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that's
we're
just
we're
a
just being
placeholder.
trolled until the decision is made, and I respect it. Little mind games. Now, so the thing about Daiji, and this is maybe my concern, is that is a god that you can counterpick if you know it's on the table, and so revealing it so early might have been a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I would agree with you 100%. I don't think picking it first is the play, uh, given how much counterplay she has
Hmm.
against her. And now we've got the Baron being locked in, so probably a flex towards solo or support. And then we got the Chiron,
Yeah,
uh,
Chiron
which
good right now, and that could be mid,
yeah,
that could be carry. Honestly, Chiron doing a lot of work in a lot of places. Same with Baron, although I think just knowing the players in this case, I think that's going to be Baron solo. I don't think I've ever seen Killer Squad play Baron support, but if he pulls it out this game, it could be nuts. Who knows?
for sure. Yeah, could very much pop off. And on the other side, we have the Mercury getting locked in, and kind of along with all the other AA focused assassins, we've seen so much Mercury play at pretty much every level of competition in the last couple of months. So excellent pick. Probably the right place to pick it as well. Want to get it before more jungle bans come in.
Exactly. They know how important it is to have a strong jungle, have a late game jungle. I think that's one of the main things. And Mercury, one of the latest game jungles. I mean, he does a lot. Now, in my opinion, Mercury's early is not as bad as people let on. His wave clear isn't great. He doesn't clear camp super fast until he gets Golden Blade online. But what I'm saying is, when he hits level 2, that grab where he can throw him back to the mid, if that's all coordinated, that is a strong level 2 spike. And so counting Mercury out early is a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely a bad idea to count him out. Um, and it looks like we've got some more bans flooding in now.
Hmm.
So we've got the Geb, the Oleron on order side, and we've got the Uller
Yeah.
Kepri.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Geb
yeah,
and Kepri kind of, said in the same breath a lot, like kind of doing the same function. Backline peel, they're not a high pressure early guardian like a Fafnir maybe, but what they do is they make it real hard to get kills. So I guess these teams saying, hey, if we dive you, we want to get these kills. I have a feeling this is going to be an action packed game.
I certainly hope so. And the teams are definitely drafting for an absolute brawl.
Yeah,
Um,
Freya Fafnir.
I I don't know how well they do together, despite the fact that on paper they should do okay. I think Freya's early game is not helped by Fafnir's relatively weak early game.
Hmm.
Um, but come late game, that Fafnir is going to do wonders for the Mercury as well. So
Yeah, Mercury and Freya getting an attack speed sim could be really big. And as of yet, we still don't know who they're going to pick for mid. So if it's another auto attacker, I suppose that's maybe part of the reason for the Oleron ban. If they have double ADCs, double magical ADCs, that could be really hard to deal with when it comes to like objective shred or just team shred for that matter.
Right. Yeah, I feel like at this point they almost have to go an auto attack focused route because it looks like Order Side is locked in what I would guess to be an
Yeah,
ADC mid.
yeah.
So
So
gotta have something to counter that pressure.
it's got to be. I'm thinking Chiron mid, Chernobog ADC, Morrigan. Oh,
Morrigan,
all right, they
okay.
went with it. Yeah. Wait.
We've
Wait a
been
minute.
duped before.
Now, I was gonna say they have tricked me with this unnecessary switch before, but Krasen literally traded the god that I thought he was playing for the god I thought Wingman was playing. If they don't trade again last second, I am going to literally lose my mind. Okay, it's over. It's over. I don't even know what's happening. That's Cleo mid. That's the Morrigan solo.
Solo.
Is this real life? Maybe they swapped
I
roles. We're just gonna have to see how the builds come out. Where they even
one
start.
has to hope that they're swapping roles.
I often
Because
say
I don't think the Morgan does very well into the Baron.
I
Um,
can idea like what is that even going to be like? I do not understand the strat. I often say nothing means anything. Everything is meaningless. This is one of those times where I'm just like, well, anything I thought I knew, I can just throw it right out the window. Um, okay. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to say pick some bands, ignoring names. Who do we think won? Let me hear your thoughts, Energy.
well, it's difficult to say because I was really with that Chaos Side draft up until the last pick, which uh, really torpedoed the goodwill that they had built up. So I think for this first game, I'm gonna go Order. I think they have a slightly more
Yeah.
well-rounded team comp, and I think it's gonna,
Hmm.
provided that they execute with the Dodgy. If the Dodgy gets behind her, if she gets picked a lot early, I think
Sure.
that their chances diminish greatly.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. Team comp wise, I'm seeing a Xing Chen, I'm seeing a Baron Samdi, and for that matter, Daji on top of it. That is a lot of CC. The combos they can do with that could be endless. Regardless of Baron ult, his root is strong. Regardless of Xing Chen ult, his root is strong. These things make it easy to set up a Daji pull, and so one of them goes in, gets the root, gets a lucky like low commit sort of ability, and then they ult and then they pull the guy. That could be big. Um, the one thing I'm going to say that we really don't want to count panic out. Morgan transforms into Freya late game. Two Freyas pew pew pewing. I don't know what survives that.
That is very true. Yeah,
Imagine
I
them
don't. I
both coerced with Fafnir and Dragon form.
Oh
Just
goodness.
what do you do? So yeah, I like the team comp coming out of You Got Diffed. I really think that it's got a lot of like meat and potatoes, sort of a staple quality to it. I just think that the craziness, the wild card factor that Panic might be able to pull out with this game could be something that really turns it on its head.
Yeah, and after watching yesterday's set, which had 4 ADCs and a support Cernunos, I can't rule anything out of viability. So,
I'm
uh,
telling you, meta is meaningless. Just everything is up for grabs at this point. So, if you're in the chat, if you're watching the stream, throw in there who you think's going to win. I'll take a look at the responses later. I'm not going to do a poll unless it's already been done by somebody else smarter and more talented than I. But I am curious to hear what the players in chat think about this draft and who they think's going to win based off of picks and bans.
and as one viewer has already pointed out, it's the fans who always win. So, uh, who are we to question that?
I think that is like legit true, and for that matter, fans have a real good track record of predicting what's going to happen. So
Also true.
yeah. So near as I can tell, I just checked the poll. It's 1-1. Oh, 2-1. You gotta do. All right. So
Okay.
the jury is still out on the poll. I'm gonna let it complete. But as we get started, and shout out to our camera person, Tragic Fox, for her second maiden voyage, is going to be operating the camera, and credit to her for showing up last minute as well. So I'm looking forward to this game for a lot of reasons. And actually, as a sidebar, just as we get all the details sorted out and get everything set up, Energy. Tragic Fox, myself, all part of one team. This is the Don't Blink production crew, and that makes me super happy. It really does.
Yeah, it's good. It's great to be able to do this with both of you. I'm incredibly excited for this entire set.
Well, thank you
So,
very much. Want you to know the feeling is mutual.
oh, good. If only that feeling extended to the Morrigan solo. I'm still doubtful, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Yeah, and the Cleo mid. You know what though? Here's the thing. Wingman Ghost, every time I think I know kind of what his skill level is, he plays outside of it. So like, that guy specifically, I say you can't count people out, but I really mean it this time. I just don't know that I can predict what his playstyle is going to be like and what he's going to do. He had like 2 deathless games in a row in the last Panic at the Discordia game. So watch out for Wingman Ghost on this Cleo. It could be crazy.
Yeah, and we've seen. To be fair, it's not a completely out of left field pick. We have seen the Cleo mid a couple of times come out of players like Benny Q and a couple of other folks in the pro or semi-pro scene.
Sure. Well, and if anyone can execute at that level, I do think it's Panic. I think they're a real strong team,
Absolutely.
and they've done a really good job of subbing out their worst player. They're playing with a sub, and I think it's just nothing but an upgrade for them. Just teasing. Shout outs to my boy Young Cub. Wish you could be here. It would make it all the better. But also, like looking at you guys, great team. First of all, Costed Jimmy is just a titan in the league in the whole HFDL league. Definitely not to be counted out. He's in mid. He's on the Chiron. This could get really spicy. Rousseau, a known heavy hitter, and same thing with Killer Squad. And that's not to mention Paxi, who's just, also one of the best jungles in the league. So we're going to see some crazy stuff as we get started over here in the duo lane. It looks like because of the different starts, a lot of pressure in both lanes in mid and carry for the red team. So
wow.
Yeah.
Got a bit of early aggression here. I haven't seen Frenzy popped in a hot minute, so I wasn't really expecting it to come out, but I guess you kind of need to with the Freya.
Yeah, and the thing is, Freya's early doesn't even anymore, and if you get a few lucky hits, like you look at that Xing Chen's health, he's having a tough time right now.
Yeah, he definitely took quite a bit of, I won't say unnecessary poke, but I'm sure he doesn't want to be that poked out this year.
Sure, maybe unintentional is
maybe unintentional, and granted he does have that great passive, so he shouldn't be hurting too much. Well, knock on wood, he shouldn't be hurting too much. But
so looking at player damage, I mean, I see Freya just top in the charts, double the Chernobog. I mean, maybe to be expected, and it's early still, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, coming out of the gate, swing.
Absolutely swinging. And one interesting thing to note here, it looks like she's opted to go into that Eye of the Jungle instead of the Diamond Arrow, or not Diamond Arrow, Gilded Arrow that we often see.
Yeah, I noticed that last game. So one of the few starters that actually has attack speed, at least that magical ADCs can build. And so, you just want every little bit of attack speed you can get on Freya. It's so hard to overcap her because she doesn't have an attack speed stem like the other magical ADCs. And what she does is damage per basic attack. And so you just want to get as many basic attacks in there as you can. That's peak Freya. That's when she's at her most effective. So get that attack speed in early. Yes, I get it. And then fight in the jungle. Even better.
Yeah,
Ooh,
even
early
better.
Invade.
A little bit more sustain coming out from that item as well. Yeah, early
Panic.
invade, and I think they're
Securing
gonna
the
pick it
purple
up
buff.
here. Yeah.
They did get it, and now it's just a matter of time to see who slips up first and gets first blooded. I think at this point.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say if that first blood will come in this duo lane or if we're going to see some action towards mid, because right now it looks like it's just the farm game going on in the other lanes.
It does, you never know. I'm going to try and keep an eye out because I think that the first blood is going to come from a spicy gank. Both teams playing safe, respecting each other, and I think a lot of game ones go this way, where they kind of, understand they don't want to be the one making the mistake. They don't want unforced errors, so they're just, taking the safe farm and not fighting over too much. But when you got lane pressure, you got to use lane pressure, and I see that Panic is doing it.
Definitely. They're pressing up as much as is safe to do, and they've got about a 600 gold lead to show for it, so not too bad considering it's less than 5 minutes and there aren't any kills on the board.
Right this second, I want to keep an eye on solo lane. I see that jungle is coming over. Oh, the ultimate was used. Oh,
Oh,
we got the killer squad going out first.
and it looks like he transformed into the Daji. I'm wondering if...
I was actually so confused because I thought I have a feeling that's going to happen a lot, guys. I'm not that smart. I am easily disoriented. I was bamboozled right there. Freya picking up a kill. We get the gank over here from the Mercury.
Yeah, just a little bit, maybe a little bit too far forward, which is easy to do in the early levels, just to get a little bit too assertive when you don't quite have the health or the vision. So
yeah, for sure. And that's 2 kills. That's first blood, and then the second kill just entirely independently over in the other lane, going to Panic at the Discordia. This is a team that's shown if they get an early lead, they know what to do. So You got Diffed has to watch out. They need to make sure that they play smart and safe because they don't want the steamroll to start steamrolling. I don't know how steamroll. I shouldn't have used that as an analogy.
Believe there's engineering involved, but I'm probably not the one to answer that question either.
Fair enough. Credit to Krasen for being able to outplay that. I thought he was about to get ganked because he was pushed up and the Daji was coming over. The transform to get the last hits and then to get out. That was a slick play. That was a slick first blood.
It was I would agree, very slick. I kind of wonder too, based off of the fact that the Baron didn't use beads and as near as I can tell didn't use the ultimate. Or maybe he did use the ultimate and it just came back off of cooldown. But if he just did the damage, just the damage from the dodgy chains without actually getting the pull, and that's what
that might have done it. Xingchen ult coming in, same with the Chernobog rotation. Damage is good onto Jessamir on the Fafnir. That puts you got Diffed on the board. Looking to see if there's any more action, but it looks like they're content with their victory. And but the counter rotation.
Leo popped his beads.
Oh, then Krasen goes down.
Kill. Okay.
So that's 2 for you got Diffed, actually. And that's basically starting to make this a little bit more of an even game. At least putting things back in you got Diff's favor for keeping the steamroll from happening. Why do I keep going back to that analogy? It's not a good one. Yeah, that was good rotations from you got Diffed. It really was.
Yeah, they all showed up. They all did exactly what you'd want them to do. They all hit their shots. And at this point, just looking at builds, I would expect Costed to back at some point because he's got to have enough gold to finish that Transcend. And as I say it, so it happens. So that works out fine. It looks like he actually might be itemizing into the double stacking route. Looks like he's got the spiked gauntlet.
I am.
So
I'm gonna say I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it's not difficult to stack Soul Eater. It just whatever dies near you stacks it up, and so it's not something that you got to get last hits or anything like that. Not that I don't think you won't get them. Just saying it's one of those items it can build fast. And Chiron has built-in healing, so when then you get that ability lifesteal, that can add a lot of sustain to his laning phase.
Yeah, should only pay dividends to him, and at this point, when you're laning against a Cleo, you really want all the sustain you can get, because she can full heal so easily.
She can, and then the poke, just right. Easy, free poke. You want to be able to try and get as much of that back as you can just while you're clearing wave. Oh, I see that Krasen is coming over in the Morgan as well. She's invisible, but it looks like maybe a little too early. All right, yeah. I guess that was that.
One brief note while we have a lapse in the fighting, it looks like Fafnir opted to get that war flag, which definitely doesn't see quite as much play as the other support starters tend to.
Yeah, I don't see that a lot, but I do personally like the item. I don't necessarily like it if I'm support, but I like it when I'm laning with a support that has it. You know, it's one of those things you feel fast, you shoot fast. I guess, like I was saying, you just want to get that early attack speed on Freya to get the most out of her as you can. This is another way to do that.
Definitely. And that
Oh,
little some good poke coming up from the Chernobog onto the
yeah.
Freya, who has the 2-level lead at this point, or
Yeah.
probably I guess probably a level and a half at this point. This
Yeah, but
Chernobog ticks over to 9.
he got the root. He got a lot of poke. Freya didn't even do any return firing, maybe because the pulse was down. You know, something else I noticed about this Freya build is that is hastened ring first item. Typically, you go Hekate, then you go hastened ring, and then once you got hastened ring on, it's like that's your kill potential. But maybe he's saying, I just want to get started as soon as I can.
Yeah, I would I would make that assumption. And considering how much damage he was throwing out for the first few levels, maybe he just feels like he doesn't need it.
The ult versus counter ult between the Mercury and the Daji.
Oh, good stun. I think that was a
The
dead Morrigan otherwise.
It was. I am almost sure of it. Krasen getting away with just whiskers of health after getting tossed off by Midnight. Great plays by Midnight. But also great plays by Paxi with the timing on that Daji ult, seeing the Mercury ult coming. Uh, Not as much effect out of the Xing Chen ult there. I think it was maybe more of the zoning tool in this particular case, but it gave them the space they needed so they could take out that Trebuchet, which early can be really strong. If not dealt with, Trebuchet can do a lot of tower damage when you really don't want it to.
Yeah, it really swings, especially when you've got even a little bit of a minion wave to kind of shield it.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, I don't think there's a Jing Chen alive who hasn't had at least one ult per game like that, where it just doesn't hit anything. So,
You know, it's a telegraphed ult. You have a lot of time to think about what you're doing when you see a Xing Chen coming at you. So, you know, it's not too hard to dodge.
no, not in the slightest. And I'm kind of wondering if we aren't going to see another
We got the
gank onto the
rotation over
Morrigan.
here. Oh yeah, the Freya
Oh,
getting low. Maybe doesn't even. Oh,
oh, dies to tick damage.
dies to tick damage, or maybe it was the Chiron too. Maybe he had gotten an initial auto attack
Oh,
on him.
that's a good point. Yeah.
If it was, I didn't see it. There was just a bit of a lag or something for me. But yeah, Freya taken out. So that's a very good win if you got Diff. I think a smart rotation coming out of Caustic. Oh, but
That's an
now
action middle though.
response gank coming from the Mercury. The dash was good, but the Chiron dash was better. Um, he gets out, doesn't take any damage. Meanwhile, Xing Chen happy to 1v3 and apparently not take any damage for it.
I mean, at this point, he's got the Sovereignty finished, he's got the Heart Ward. They're really not going to be able to do too much to him unless he's got like 5 people committing on him. So, another interesting kind of itemization choice here. Maybe it's in response to the Hasten Ring, but we've got the Ikavol coming out from the Chernobog. So I guess he's anticipating doing a lot of boxing early.
Well, you know, the early Ichabod may actually be part of the reason why he was winning those trades as well as he was, because Hekate has an Ichabod-like quality where every time you land a basic attack, you get stronger, they get weaker. But not having that and fighting into Ichabod, that puts that Freya at a pretty big disadvantage, even a level up.
That is true. That is very true. And now it looks like she does have the Ring of Hecate finished, so she might have like half an item on the Chernobog.
Yeah, I see that.
I would imagine that's going to be a Silver Branch. Oh, looks like we did get the prophesied Daji gank onto the Morgan.
You know, it only took the third or fourth try,
Yeah.
but you know, credit to them for keep doing it until success, because I think that it works out well for them. You take a look at that Morgan's damage; she's top of the damage charts. Oh my goodness! And Armor
just,
Wolf,
just eclipsed by the Freya, probably picking up that damage off of the Chernobog.
yeah, absolutely. I think I saw Cherno. In fact, let me see if his ult's not. No, but I saw him channeling his ult. He looked like he was just about to get up and get out of there. He did not. Meanwhile, Daji going in, getting damage, getting the kill on the mid.
Looks
The
like we got the
beads are
bead
good
done.
on the Theo. She's trying to get into the wall, but looks like she wasn't able to. Now she's too low to be able to do it. Does she get out? looks like she's made it to tower. Oh, but Paxi overstayed. He gets killed by Armor Wolf, who made a great rotation to come over to this fight. Meanwhile, Xing Chen is doing the best he can to try and get out of here.
Yeah, I think he might have overstayed just a little bit. I think they might even be able to get the chase down with the banish.
Yeah. With the banish,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. And Xing Chen dies for his efforts.
Double stun coming up from the Morgan. Now we got the Baron ult.
Okay, but
That might be a return kill onto the Fafnir from the tower.
yeah, except that Armor Wolf is able to get a double kill off of that. That's 4 for 1. Well, 2 if you count the one that we killed the Midman who's come back since. But yeah, that is 4 dead on You Got Diff's team. I think overall that goes Panic's way quite a bit. Are they healthy enough to be able to get anything off the fight?
Even if they're not, that's 4 kills onto the Freya, which you can't feel good about. Because if there's one character that doesn't feel that you don't
That's a
want,
really good point you make there.
I for one don't want to see a Freya with a 5-1-1 stat line at less than 15 minutes. But
yeah,
what do
a
I
minute
know?
ago, a minute ago, when Freya was second place damage 1-1, it kind of didn't look so scary. Now that she's over 1,000 damage ahead of second place and 5-1, it starts to tell a different story, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And now it looks like, oh, this is interesting. Morgan itemizing into the Void Stone. I don't see this item picked up very much anymore, so it took me a second to remember whatever that item is.
What an interesting Morrigan build. And the thing about Morrigan builds is you kind of only have to suffer with them while you're, like running around laning and farming, etc. Because you're probably going to turn into somebody for the big money modes. But Warlock staff for the health, good damage and mana, cooldown, which you definitely want on Morrigan, and then magic defense. But man, I don't know. This is an interesting build. I've certainly never seen it on a Morgan before. I hope it is effective. Oh, the ultimate from the Mercury.
Got the ult coming in from the Mercury, the ult from the Dodgy, several sets of Ds from too many people to keep track of.
Yep. They were able to get the Xing Chen throw on Wingman. He's now trying to get out with a little bit of help, but Russo sticks around too long and gets destroyed by Wingman. Now Killer Squad is being chased down.
He might be just a little bit too tanky for them.
No, the Mercury throw is pretty good, but he makes it to tower. I think that's it. Oh, but Paxi trying to help. Gets deleted. And now Freya's up in the air doing crazy damage with that ultimate. Oh. So the Baron ult was good. Fortunately, the Fafnir was able to get in there and save it, Freya from being pulled, and then they were able to turn it into a kill. Now.
Save it like a diving goalie. Fafnir leaping into the tower and saving Freya.
Or like a bodyguard. Get down, Mr. President. And just jumping in the way of the bullet. Oh my gosh. Wingman going for the kill while the rest of his team goes for Gold Fury. Oh, which they annihilate in a matter of seconds.
Drop, man.
I gotta be honest. I was gonna say something about how strong Gold Fury is these days, and it does a lot of damage, and they need to watch. Before I could think the thought, they had that thing deleted.
No kidding. And that's without Fafnir even having anything like the Frenzy up. Because it's still on cooldown for another 50 seconds. So that was all just single coerce or dragon coerce. Which I guess is all you need, that and a Fed Freya who has a Telekine's ring.
It turns out. Level 17 Freya. Say what you will about where she was, I don't know, 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, 1-1, etc. Skyrocketed to a 3-level lead. Top damage by a long shot. This Freya is definitely win condition.
Farming.
I don't remember any of the picks and bans on account of I erase everything that happened 30 seconds ago, but I don't know why they didn't ban Freya. Whatever they picked besides Freya probably wasn't the right idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what their first pick was. I want to say it was Dodgy. And I'm sure that they'll make an adjustment because I don't see a scenario in which Freya gets picked or banned like this again.
Yeah, you just can't let Panic have it. Is it Armor Wolf? Is it just Freya's state in the game right now? Pre-nerfs? Because we know that they're coming. I don't know, but I don't think it matters. Just don't let them happen.
Yeah, just no need for that to get through. And it's definitely... I think they could probably get away with not banning the Horus. I know the Horus is good in the right hands.
Hold that thought. We got the dodging pull. Turns into a kill. Putting for his
Gets
life.
the
Gets
return
picked up by
kill.
Krasen. Oh, and now Rousseau is low, deep in the enemy territory. Oh, but the pull from Killer Squad.
Oh, double. A nice double pick off of the Oregon transformation.
Oh my
and then
gosh,
another
though.
double for Freya.
Yeah, Rousseau goes down, then a double kill from Freya, and now
And
a triple kill. Wow, I feel like you
Man.
got Diffed played that really good right up until they got absolutely wiped. It just happened so fast. It all turned around.
It really did, and the health bars also tell part of the story. You have to think that if they'd gotten like maybe even one more kill, got another half item online, that at least one more person would have fallen. But
yeah, now Freya full health, everyone else quarter less, just about, except for Wingman who went back or was killed, I think, in that interaction. Just if they had had a little bit better target focus, they could have gotten kills and maybe less deaths. But the way that they played it, Panic at the Discordia managed to come out on top by a lot. That's putting them in a 9,000 gold lead here at 19 minutes. It's looking pretty strong. If we could take a look at the F4 screen real quick, I just kind of want to see how this trend has been going, because I feel like there's been some back and forth. And that is not true. It's been a pretty steady rise for Panic. There's been some times where it plateaus just a little bit, but they've been able to basically make an advantage at just about every interaction. There really hasn't been too much return to it. So, yeah, Panic is starting to pick up that momentum that they're known for.
Yeah, for sure. So much so, in fact, that Freya has now finished their jungle starter. So we've got the Seer of the Jungle coming out.
Yeah, that's what an interesting item on a Freya. You know, like I mentioned in the initial starting item, oh yeah, it makes sense. You got the attack speed or whatever, but then all the other stats that Seer gives you and the benefit from the passive, that just feels so strong. And not on your jungle, but I mean, will be, I'm sure, when Mercury levels up, but on your ADC too. I just feel like that's it's unlocked mechanics. It's
Definitely.
beat strats.
Yeah. Elite strats indeed.
I think I aged myself. So Russo getting in there trying to keep Panic off the Pyromancer. They managed to pick it up. Mercury ult dashes. It's just off the mark, but he does get the grab. Killer Squad thrown back into it, and then Chiron ult comes out. It's just a mishmash of ultimates and nonsense at this moment. Dodgy up in the air, looking for something. Gets a pick on Armor Wolf, but the beat's good. A couple of them get pulled, but there's no follow-up.
A lot of low health bars, but no finishes.
Oh, there's one.
There's
Midman goes down.
Yeah. And now I would imagine, well, they don't need to chase the Xing Chen here. Xing Chen with no ult has almost nothing to offer this Fire Giant.
Here's a question. Do they have enough health with the Fire Giant? We saw Gold Fury absolutely wreck a team for not respecting the damage that these of them do. But we've got Freya, we've got Morgan, we've got Fafnir, and the Fire Giant goes down just like that. It hardly looks like their health bars are even lower than when they started.
It really doesn't. If you told me just by looking at health bars that they had completely blazed through the fire, I wouldn't believe you, because it just didn't affect them at all. But it is going to be the Mercury without the fire, though.
It is maybe not the worst as far as like which player doesn't get fire. You know, I like it on the ADC, I like it on the support for the sustain, solo laner for the sustain for the same reason. Maybe doesn't apply to the Morgan here. I don't know. All rules are off. I keep saying it, but you know, if you're gonna let one person not get it, jungle, whatever.
Yeah, I think they might suffer a little bit when it comes. Well, I say that and then they blaze through another objective. I was gonna say I think they hurt for some of those objective damage just because Freya doesn't naturally apply that much on her own.
That is a good point. And Mercury does, because with a little attack speed buff, Mercury is absolutely slapping. He's got Deathbringer. He's got a fully stacked rage. Like, you know, we're gonna see big numbers coming out of this Mercury.
Oh, definitely. Those 1K crits are gonna be coming through. I have no doubt.
Meanwhile, he's got to hit a lot of those to be able to catch up to the Freya, who's still sitting pretty on the top of the player damage charts. But credit to Krasen for doing a ton of damage on the Morrigan as well.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of makes sense with Morrigan getting at least a couple abilities that do percentage damage based on health, but yeah, absolutely doing a lot with the Omen in these team fights. Looks like we got a big occurrence happening in the left lane.
We do. Dodgy goes up, gets the ult. It looks like it was mostly for show, but chasing in. Oh, wait a minute. What? I'm seeing another Dodgy ult. Did I get bamboozled again? I did.
It is entirely possible.
So the first kill goes to Rousseau, the second kill goes to Armor Wolf. Now I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Midman picking up another kill, so this is starting to go the way of Panic of the Discordia. The defense is continuing. The Phoenix is looking strong. Health bars are getting low, but I think that another kill is imminent.
It looks like we got the Chernobog ulting in, but I don't know what he's going to be able to do. And
oh
as
my
it
gosh,
turns
Midman
out,
picks up
very
another
little.
kill. They get the Phoenix with Oni minions coming up. They're going to actually going in.
I think they have the damage, and there's no need to clear out those last. Although
Xing Chen putting in work. His ult's a
work.
ways away. That's double kill. If he could get another one, triple kill.
Oh,
Oh my
not
God.
quite. Good effort out of Rousseau
seconds
there at
away.
the end.
Absolutely. Just last stand at the I don't know at the historical place of reference. But you got to give it credit. Panic at the Discordia close out game one with a decisive siege on the Phoenix straight into Titan End. That was impressive play coming from them as they just kept that lead going further and further.
Yeah, they never really let their foot off the gas there. Once they got Freya those kills, it was pretty much all downhill, all easy rolling.
That is exactly it. So then the question is, what does You Got Diffed gotta do? What adjustments do they got to make to take this to a game 3?
Well, I think there's a very I think it has to start with that Freya ban. Either play it, yeah, I know. As shocking as that is to hear, yeah. I also think it has to do with let's take a look at my favorite stat to look at, which is total number of wards placed.
I knew it. I guessed it.
Oh, and let's see. We've got 17, 26, so 32 for You Got Diffed, which admittedly is a lot better than what that number normally would be. So I'm happy to hear that. And it looks like, what is that? 24, 33. We've got 47? 47, yeah. I think. So
at very least a bigger number.
At the very least a bigger number. That's right.
Winning team having more wards is not a trend that is rare, in my opinion.
No.
That's something that you see a lot. And so, the more wards you get out. Now, it could be that they had the map presence, and because they had the lane pressure and they were able to get out there, it was just easier to put offensive wards. But whatever the reason is, you got to be spending that money on wards so that you can get them out and you can know when you're getting ganked and you know where the rotations are.
Absolutely. And it looks like we're already
here we go.
Bans.
I love it. And take a look at that first ban. That
first
ban on order sign. Yeah, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, first ban makes total sense. I am surprised a little bit
at the Morrigan and the Cleo.
The Cleo, I mean, at this point, Cleo is just one of those you hate to play against it sort of things, regardless of who's on it. And Wingman had a great game on it. The Morrigan ban makes perfect sense. That's absolutely a respect ban.
But they have abandoned their entire initial 3 to basically give you Panic whatever they want besides those 3 gods that they played.
Yeah, I guess it's very much time to go back to the drawing board here.
And then there goes the Bakasura. If only you could ban roughly 100 gods in the first banning phase, right? Only if you could just pick your 5 and then just ban out the enemy team. Come on, Hi-Rez, fix your game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so this just it played into Panic's trap. They banned out the gods that they played and they performed well on, and so now they get the Chernobog rotation, they get the Bakasura fast farm. There's a lot going for Panic right out of the gates with these picks and bans.
There really is, and Bakasura obviously banned last game, so makes sense that they'd want to pick it up here. I don't know about the Osiris first pick. Um, I
Yeah, I
don't
wonder as well.
think I don't know how well, I don't think that fares terribly well into the Bakasura if it is like a jungle matchup. I think Osiris
Hmm.
solo is still pretty decent. Uh,
So I like Osiris. I think Osiris solo works and does fine. My question is why first pick? You know, there's
yeah,
still a lot of good gods. They gave up the Chernobog to pick that Osiris. Was Panic again? Or they're trying to, I guess, build a team around that. And so they feel like showing the Osiris is okay because, it's their overall strategy.
yeah, that could definitely be part of it. Um, and drafting the Kepri, um, I think I think most players will always be grateful to see a Kepri on their team. I think just
Hmm.
reassurance from a second life will never not be useful. I'm trying to remember if it got banned last game or not.
It
Uh,
did. Kepri and Geb got banned on either side. I don't remember who did which, but they got banned in the second phase. And so
yeah,
picking up this support in the first phase opens up that opportunity. Will Panic do the same?
indeed.
Mhm.
Uh,
I'd be curious if they're going to go with, well, okay, never mind. But I was going to say I
well,
was curious if they were going to go with the Fafnir again, because there's no reason that attack speed wouldn't be good on this team. Two gods in. The Nox. What an interesting choice. Is that support Nox? Is that mid lane Nox? Is that solo Nox? Is it jungle Nox? I don't know anything about
it,
this game anymore.
it is truly unhinged at this point. Um, I would personally prefer to see the mid Nox. I know that I'm definitely in the minority on that viewpoint. I think most of
Sure.
the time we see her as a support.
She's got a
I
silence. She's got a grab. She's got damage reduction in her ultimate. What's not support about it?
what indeed, high res, he said, making direct eye contact with the camera. Uh, no, but it looks like we've got a couple more bands rolling in. So we've got
Hmm.
the Mercury and Daji band, which
Okay. The two junglers from
the
last
two
game,
junglers from
both
last game.
both
So that,
strong, by the way. I mean,
oh
absolute
yeah,
credit to Paxi. He played that Daji, I think, really well and got a lot of value. It's just so did Krasen. So, I
indeed.
could see now that the Morrigan is banned out, then just Panic doesn't want to let him have that Daji again.
Yeah, which makes sense. She's a beads burner, and that's always going to be useful. On the other side, we've
Hmm.
got the King Arthur and the Baron. King Arthur's just an obnoxious character, and
He is.
I guess the Baron also does provide a fair amount of disruption
Hmm.
into the team that they've drafted. Baba Yaga getting through.
Yeah.
She's
So.
seen a huge rise with how popular double stacking item starts
Hmm.
are.
Hmm. Yeah, so double stacking is good. Maybe not great, but it's good. But on Baba Yaga, it's great because she gets it done so much faster. And Wingman on this Baba Yaga is pretty insane. So that tells me that's Baba mid. Nox could be going, I mean, who knows where Nox is going, but I'm going to say solo or support, probably support. Um, Against a Zeus. Hmm.
Against a Zeus, that's going to be a tough one. Um, Zeus kind of suffers for for the first few levels, as many mages are wont to do,
Hmm. Hmm.
and he really suffers if they decide to lock in that Odin.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
he does. I wonder if that was a flex right there. Okay, so it's Nox support. It is Krasen on the Odin in the solo lane. No, it's Krasen on the Baba Yaga in the solo lane. Wingman on the Chernobog. Armor Wolf on the Odin. Armor Wolf on the Baba Yaga. You know what? I'm falling for it every time. I just need to stop. I just need to understand I'm being trolled and accept it for what it is. Let's take a look at You Got Diffed for a second. Oh, what a nice, reasonable team comp you guys have.
yeah, the all of the roles make sense. I think the with the Osiris getting slotted into the jungle, we've got the Amaterasu solo.
Hmm.
Um, Now, provided they actually maybe they're not going to trade. Oh no, okay, they did trade one more time. How's that going to be? Odin into Amaterasu, sort of an interesting matchup there. Amaterasu's early game is suboptimal, I will say, and Odin's is pretty decent. So probably a bit of a slap fight there. We've got the. I just something about me just hates seeing Nox support, even though
Now,
objectively it's a better fit than mid. Uh,
now maybe I'm having an old man moment right here, but wasn't Julesy their carry and wasn't Rousseau their solo? Or
I I believe
have they
no, no,
have
no,
they
no, no, no,
switched?
no. It was Rousseau was the support, Killer was in the
Yes.
solo lane, Julesy was the ADC,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
now it looks like everybody's moved one chair to the left, or whatever the
Okay.
equivalent of that is. I think the only
Sure.
person who remained the same is Paxi.
Okay, so I guess what we have here is they're exercising their constitutional right to change the roles that they are, in, and so people are going to be in different roles. We're just going to have to hold our breath and see. Although I'm pretty sure Paxi in the jungle is definitely the win condition for you got Diffed, and for that
Yeah,
matter, Osiris just a better jungler than Amaterasu, unless somebody finds some hidden tech on Ama. I think that Osiris can build into a lot of things. Obviously, attack speed. He's got that attack speed chain. You can build crit on Osiris, and it's not terrible. And for that matter, he's got the slows and the chase down and the stun and everything to just like basically stick to people. It's also not terrible to build him a little bit tanky as well, even in the jungle. So there's a lot of options on how you path Osiris if he's in the jungle role.
that is very true. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that they picked. I mean, it makes sense because they probably picked the Odin to trap out the Khepri and the Zeus mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But Osiris can get out of that cage fairly easily, both with the leap and with his passive. So
Mm-hmm. Now, Amma can't because her
Ama cannot.
dash and her
Yeah.
ultimate don't go over that wall. The on her can get out, but maybe they've just accepted that they'll have to chase him down after killing everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
personally, I think Odin is a good pick here. Maybe a little bit bold, but I think that between the burst damage and just the utility of the ultimate, and I get it. Odin is a bit of an ult bot, but it's a good ult. Just a trap for 4 or 5 seconds, however long it lasts, it can be
Yeah.
very strong in the middle of a team fight, just to separate players, if nothing else.
Very much so. And with Odin getting a buff, I want to say last patch or the patch before, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more of him. Uh yeah, just I know that he's one of those feast or famine characters. Like some months he'll go and every game there will be an Odin, and some months you won't see him for, 30 games or something.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, and I kind of feel a similar thing for Zeus. He'll go through feast and
yeah.
famine times where he is the god because just damage is the answer, and who damages better than Zeus? But then it'll be like, well, it's not safe, and there's dive comps, and it's just you can't protect your baby boy, and so then Zeus falls out of favor, and you just don't see him for games on end. It seems like we're kind of in a no more Zeus phase right now, and yet they pull him out and they're gonna show us what you can do with him right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully it's good because I think
Yeah,
a game 3 of this set would be exciting to watch.
it would be.
Uh,
A lot rides on this for you got Diffed. They got to get the win here, and I think that they've got to do it decisively so that they can get into that game 3 with a positive attitude. Having said that, this is a mental game. Being able to shake off an early loss is one of the, I think, core mechanics to being able to play in the competitive scene. So hopefully that's something that you got Diffed has on lock.
yeah, gotta have the memory of a goldfish when it comes to losses, and just
What were we
moving on
talking
to the
about?
next one. Exactly.
Exactly. So,
uh, let's see.
yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So Onher's early game, I think, is gonna be a little bit better than Chernobog's. Historically, Onher has such great pressure through those first like 5 levels or so,
He does, and it looks
and
like
yeah,
Costed is going into the duo lane. So definitely did trade it up. Instead of mid lane where he was last game, he's going to be going into duo with On Her. I feel like it really comes down to does he get a sick impale? Like
Mhm.
does he land one of those, knocks him into a wall when they're not expecting it, or maybe his pillar once he hits, level 2 or 3 when he levels it. That's really that like, ooh, no, on her moment that you can deal with. Having said that, the attack speed that you get out of Cherno, it can be deceptive. Level 1, level 2, he starts going pew pew, he gets those crystals on you, suddenly you just start losing health. So I could see it going either way unless on her gets that boom stun.
Yeah. And the Kepri shield is going to do a little bit to mitigate the damage from those crystals, but you're absolutely right. That attack speed stim is no joke.
Yeah.
Absolutely can ruin your day if you're not careful.
Yeah, and I am curious how the Nox is going to come into play here. A lot of pressure coming out of you got Diffed in the mid lane. Osiris, so much so that he's going to take the back heartbeats from Panic. They're just going to have to watch him. Sort of the
Yeah,
opposite story over in the duo lane.
and it looks like Midman's opted to go
Ooh,
for that Oracles, and we get an early beats out of the
early
Churn as
beads.
well.
Yeah, that's right. So it looks like Baka is just going to go ahead and take the Oracles. Looks like pretty decent, I would say, wave clear coming out of the Amaterasu. You sort of expect that. Odin doesn't have a great time, but he's holding his own okay. Oh,
Yeah,
actually, he outcleared her.
yeah. Well, he does have the blue stone, and on Odin, especially with how much base damage his lunge and his Raven shield, and even the Gungnir, the spear, it's not surprising. I would expect her to start out clearing him probably around that maybe 5 to 6 level mark.
Hmm.
But by that point, they'll be rotating, so it won't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, and that's an area where I think Amaterasu has an advantage because you go into her speed aura passive and you just move a little faster and you get places and you show up with a hard stun. It can prove pretty big. Looks like Osiris chasing Wingman into the jungle. Wingman maybe taking the fight. Oh,
He actually was
Midman
able
there
to
to.
catch up pretty substantially, but yeah, Zeus getting poked out quite a bit, and now they're collapsing on the Osiris. But he does have a slight level advantage over this Bakasura.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, no deaths so far. I think both teams really trying to play it safe, but early invade from You Got Diff. They're taking advantage of this mid lane pressure that they've got.
And they
Um,
didn't get it. Dang.
they didn't take enough advantage. You got to have
Yeah,
someone zoning the red buff, man. Yeah,
the potion of destiny there getting chucked by Bob, doing the last, I don't know, 50 damage or whatever it was. So
absolutely. Great timing on that. And the thing about Baba Yaga, real wild card. You never know what potion it's going to be. If it's going to have a slow effect, if it's going to be a lot of damage. I said this last game, but she really can be frustrating to play against because just suddenly there's a silence in the lane, and could have been that, could have been some other effect. You don't know what to expect.
yeah, and on the
Um,
other side, we've got the speed coming out, and the speed invade, you hate to see it.
the
Uh,
troll speed invade, leave the
yeah,
littles. I'm gonna say that's because he was being safe and getting out as fast as possible, not as a low key BM, so that when you find it, you're like, oh,
oh, my timer
oh,
is off.
yeah.
Uh, in a bit of a slap fight in duo right now, which honestly, that's about what you'd expect between both of these.
It is. It looks like Osiris coming over to middle. Got some interesting potential action here, but no, just gonna help with the lane clear, and then probably because mana is low, mid's low a little bit when it comes to health, and so they're just gonna not turn that into a gank. Although I wouldn't have mind seeing the action, to be perfectly honest.
It is a very zen-like atmosphere
It is.
in this set thus far, although maybe that will change.
It's
Uh,
getting a little actiony over in duo. I also want to point out it's level 5 and Ama has, I think, substantial wave pressure in solo, and so you
yeah,
called it, my man.
yeah, I know my solo lane matchups.
You most
uh,
certainly do.
but yeah, I think also part of that has to do with opting into the death's toll. Just even the little bit of extra sustain is going to help so much in these slap fights.
It really
Uh,
does. Taking a look at Armor Wolf again, he is sitting at top of player damage charts just like last time. there's something about what he does. He just does it a little different. You know, he seems to just get that extra poke in while clearing wave that just, you know, it certainly keeps him at the top of the player damage charts, but it also keeps them with the lane pressure in the duo lane, and that's strong right now. There's just a lot of XP over in that area.
Yeah, there really is. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if he just doesn't prioritize poking rather than clearing, because
He might. He might. He's like,
and
I'll clear when they back. You know, like I'll get it one way or another.
and if he does, I've got to sue him because that's also my strategy for lane. No,
Oh no.
yeah,
Don't give away all our secrets. Stop the tape.
it's all misinformation. No.
Yeah.
And it looks like Odin's opted to finish off that breastplate of valor. Odin's good for many things. Mana consumption isn't one of them, so only gonna benefit from the extra mana and from the cooldown.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable build out of him as well. I think the more often you get bird bombs, the more often you get to do Odin things. Given that Odin doesn't have a lot of other things, that and the ult, cooldown's great on that.
Yep.
So it looks like this is going to be a fight. We got the grab coming from the rotation from the Nox. Meanwhile, Paxi putting in a lot of damage on Wingman.
Yeah, getting a little less than, or a little more than half health, or a little more than a third of health. Taking out a chunk of health.
Well put. Well put.
Yeah. Yes. Eloquence is what I strive for here. Oh, and we have the Baka ult coming out.
Yeah. Oh, the ult was good to get escaped, but the chase was even better. And the first blood on Paxi. Meanwhile, Killer Squad was trying to get in range. I think probably to use his ult, but oh, he's getting just chased down. Baba Yaga does so much damage.
She does so much damage, and she's got to be one of the most frustrating characters to gank, right? Because just when you think you've got the advantage, that house comes crashing down. And
it does, and the floor is lava. And that combination is, like you said, frustrating. Both of those kills going to mid-man on the Bakasura. You know, we talked about, getting kills on the Freya last game. That's not what you want. Well, getting kills on the Bakasura is not what you want either.
Also not what you want. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very much a lose-lose. Yeah, so we're at what, a little less than 10 minutes now. I think we had about as many kills at this point at last game, so
yeah,
I think
last game
on
also
par.
Started out a little bit slow. This does feel kind of similar. Panic taking the initial stick. If I remember correctly, you got Diffed, did a response double kill, and it was 2 and 2 pretty shortly after this. Let's see if they can keep that trend going.
Yeah, I think they've got about a minute and a half until they need to get their requisite 2 kills. So
yeah, the timer is clicking, and if they do, then we can officially call this a Groundhog Day game. I think you all probably get the reference. The movie came out in like '94, whatever. Don't worry about it. So Paxi coming in, chasing the Nox down. Nox gets a good grab, and probably stops that gang from doing anything more. Meanwhile, Baka's lurking, but getting a solo kill.
Ooh.
Guys, cameraman, I missed that entirely. But the ultimate coming out of the Zeus, probably to
coming
save
out of the
his life.
Kepri too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think
Also
he
probably
definitely
to
needed
save
there.
life. Yeah, he would. The movement speed. It's okay if you use a Kepri ult and they don't die and get revived, because the movement speed is a huge component of that ult. It also has a cleanse effect. Ooh. Meanwhile,
we do have a return kill. Yeah, Baba finally falling.
I'm looking for the second one. If they don't get the second one, I am just gonna riot.
Maybe that's part of their strategy to change things up. Like, we got the 2 kills early, but this time we're gonna do half that. And
well, we know the timeline has been changed.
Yeah.
So what I keep seeing is this Nox, I don't think, has missed a single grab. You know, not a lot of Nox combos in the traditional Nox combo sense, but in the grab hold 'em still, it's been good. Now at this point, it's mostly been defensive, it's mostly been positional, but late game, if those mechanics stay, I mean, imagine being Nox grabbed while a Bakasura is nomming on your Nox.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, Odin having to use the ultimate defensively.
Using it defensively, and it doesn't look like he actually got anybody in the cage.
It very much didn't. I think he did have Amma in, but she was able to hit him with the ult, even though she was still in the cage. The other two were out. They were able to grab him. They were able to root him. There he goes. Krasen dead. However, Midman going for the kill on Rousseau gets the kill. So that is a 1-for-1 trade at the moment. But I think Pandic's in a better position to be able to get something off of it. Meanwhile,
that was a great pillar.
But the ultimate was so good, and the movement from Armor Wolf was able to take out Costed. And let me tell you, I feel like Costed played that as good as a person could, starting from where we saw it.
Absolutely. I'm not sure what else you can do there to avoid that death. He did every on her trick in the book to get out of that. So.
Everyone. So what I will say, he did still have his ult. I don't know that could have done anything for him because he was just last hit. There's no CC immunity effect that I think would have made a difference there. So I stand by the statement. Yeah. So that was 2 kills for Panic, starting to move this up. So, you know, we're seeing the back and forth, and absolutely you got Diffed is staying in there. And you know what? I got to point out, Panic of the Discordia only has a 1K lead at 11 minutes. Usually they have, I don't know, my memory's not so good. I'm going to say 40K gold lead at the 10-minute mark. They tend to come out of the gate strong. So this time, I feel like you got Diffed is playing this really well. They just need to be careful because another kill might change that.
They do need to be careful, and Bakasura has finished the stone-cutting sword, so he's going to be swinging, especially on a squishy like this Zeus.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, stone cutting, and then the gold grenade right there. Oh, Armor Wolf.
Oh, not quite.
Not quite, honestly. I feel like Costed playing that as good as he could, getting Armor Wolf down to just whiskers of health, but because that Bakasura was there, he was able to get the kill before Costed could.
Oh, and this is interesting. We actually see a successful red buff invade. I don't think we've seen one yet, but
hold your breath.
Finally.
You may have spoken too soon. Paxi going for the chase. Oh, there's that Nox combo that I was saying I hadn't seen. Again, the Osiris ult followed by the Bakasura ult. It turned immediately into a kill.
It did indeed. But he still got the buff. And honestly, I think he's going to call that maybe not successful.
I'm just going to say the message has been sent.
Message has been sent. You can only occasionally claim the red buff.
And the response appears to be this Gold Fury.
Yeah, it's not what you want to see, but they were grouped up, and there's really nothing they could have done to contest that, so...
No, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of action over on that left side of the map, and once everyone gets together, we know that this team does not hesitate to do objectives and just knock them out. They've got good vision in the jungle. They can see what's going on. Costed, again, putting on his jutsus, trying to get out. Turning with the ultimate. Gosh, maybe he shouldn't have done that.
I think
Armor
he
Wolf
should have.
not missing autos.
Not missing a single auto. I think he was probably out if he had just kept moving. But
yeah, the juke shoes were good. Yeah. Meanwhile, Zeus trying to get some damage in.
I don't think they're quite fast enough to catch either of them. Between the Chernobog dashing into the wall and the Bakasura just having so much innate movement speed. I don't think you're catching him without a little bit of setup.
Meanwhile, Paxi trying to start the Pyromancer. I think this is a good call. There's nobody over here in right, and if they don't have it warded, they might not know that it's happening.
That's going to go down really quick with the Amma passive. Stacking multiple times, and just they only need the 2 of them to finish it off. So.
One of my favorite things about Amma, I expect to see an ultimate here. Yeah, there it is. And the counter ult from the Baba Yaga to not get CC'd. The damage is so good. Amaterasu takes out Wingman.
Takes out Wingman, and Amma's tanky enough that it doesn't really affect her too much taking all those tower shots. And we got the counter ult coming in by Chernobog.
Oh. Oh no, Armor Wolf picks up Paxi. The Khepri ult was already on the Amaterasu, and then another kill on the Khepri. So now Zeus all by himself, 4 people surrounding him in between towers, no safety to be found. Meanwhile,
this might be a little
just
bit
going
too
in
much.
deep. This is bold. Minions may take him out. Oh, but the shield. He's got tankers in the tower.
He's got tankers, and he's got 30% cooldown, so he's going to be just fine. We do have the late on her rotation. He's got to pop his beads early.
Oh, the impale was just off the mark. The autos were good, but it's not enough damage to be able to take out this Odin, who has shields every other second. It's amazing. Poor
Oh, and
Costa
Honor
gets
is gonna
taken
fall.
out. He stayed so long trying to get those kills. How is this Odin still alive? That was crazy.
Oh, and Bakasura's got a full Toxic Blade at this point, so any of the healing coming out from that Ama is gonna be, I won't say none, but very, very limited.
Wow. Well, that definitely went the way of Panic at the Discordia. It could have gone either way, and for a while, it kind of looked like it was starting to come back for You Got Diffed. But that was 4 kills for, I'm going to say one. I think there was one. It's all fuzzy. There was a lot that was happening, but yeah, this was one of those moments. I wouldn't mind taking a look at the F4 screen and seeing what that did to the golden XP. Wow, 8,800 XP difference, 6,600 gold difference. Make a wish, because I feel like that's Panic starting to take off with a substantial lead.
Yeah, and this is how it started last game too, right? One really, for lack of a better word, lopsided team fight to kind of catapult them into a lead that they never really
Mhm.
let go of for the rest of
Yeah,
that game. So.
exactly. And the thing that I know about the thing I notice about Panic's playstyle is they don't make a lot of unforced errors. They tend to constantly push the advantage, but they don't push it too hard or too fast. They just keep accelerating. This is one of those moments where we see that the Bakasura using the ult on Paxi, he uses the Osiris ult to get away, and it looks like the escape is good, but they didn't chase. So now the question is, what are they going to do with the space they just made? It looks like enemy Scorpion is the answer.
Yeah, probably a little bit too early to try and do a fire giant, especially with all 5 of the enemy team up. So, but that's not going to stop the people in left lane from boxing at each other again.
They are. Man,
Looks like
I just
Costa
noticed
getting a slight advantage in that,
that
despite
is
being down.
crazy. 4 levels, 3 now, but I was just noticing that level difference. Meanwhile, Costed, wildly in the lead with health in that interaction. I didn't see how it started out. Maybe Armor Wolf showed up with low health. Hold that thought. Midman getting a kill on Jules, the Amaterasu. Um,
Yeah, getting caught without the ult. So I guess if you're if the Ama dash gets blocked, she's really out of luck for escaping from a very fed Bakasura.
Yeah, that is the thing about Amadesh and Medusa as well, is it stops on the first god you hit. So if you're trying to get out, but somebody just stands in the way a little bit, if you hit their elbow or something, that's it. Meanwhile, silence is good on the Kepri, but he's still able to get the dash. Is there going to be an ultimate to hold him still? No, it's not up yet. So Costed in a lot of trouble, not able to get any more levels since the last time we saw him. He does not want to take a bunch of 1v4s, I do not think. Oh, not against
Oh,
this level 17 Baka. The
although
Aegis
this time
good.
he does have the Aegis, but it's not gonna prolong it by too much. That
It's
Bakasura
not.
damage is just oppressive at this point.
Yeah, I really think what Costa was trying to do was maintain positioning so that he could scout out the Gold Fury, knowing that they were going to start it. It looks like the call was to start Fire Giant in response, but that was overly ambitious because they've got a Chernobog on their team. He can get to that in an instant.
It looks like the Kefri probably mentoed the Osiris, but because he couldn't get the targeter on him, ended up ulting himself.
That is
So
unfortunate because the Odin ult just barely catches him. Meanwhile, Wingman getting a triple kill off of that fight. Oh my god,
yeah,
that is so much damage.
that Baba is absolutely swinging both fully stacked Warlocks and Book of Thoth. And Odin is going to get probably 3 or 4 stacks just from people dying in his ult as well. So
You make a good point. There was a lot of persons caught in that ultimate. I was just thinking about the Paxi on the Osiris, but he wasn't the only one in there, I don't think. So Fire Giant going to Panic at the Discordia, they're getting so much value off of these team fights. This is where that acceleration comes. Then
yeah,
they just get more and more stuff after each fight, and then the fights just go more their way each time. I don't
yeah.
know what the answer is at this point. 20
I
minutes
think
into the game.
they've got to hope and get like an isolated pick somewhere. The problem is that there's no isolation to be had. They're
That's the
roaming as 5 and team
exactly.
fighting as you should. So
That's
and
the
now it's
unforced
a
errors I'm talking about. You don't find too
exactly.
many like wild hot shots just trolling the jungle to see what he can find. This team tends to play together really well. And then their responses are really fast, especially with a Chernobog. I feel like this is a really good advantage for Panic at this point. I think You Got Diffed just has to figure out a way to stall this game.
Yeah. Now, to their credit, Zeus in the Phoenix defense is pretty good.
He
Uh,
is.
he's got that going for him.
Mm-hmm.
Although at this point the gold lead is now 12K. I think when we last looked at it, it was maybe 6 or 7K. So,
Yeah.
and that, oh, here's something we can talk about. Odin's got 50% cooldown reduction. Uh,
You
so
know what?
at this point, I'm sure he's entitled, right? Because he's gonna have that ult up once every, I don't know, 56 seconds or something like that. Uh,
Absolutely. Make sure you get him an enhanced blue buff.
yeah,
Just like really lean into it.
for
Um,
maximum efficiency.
I was just
Kepri,
noticing the Zeus only has a 20% cooldown, and you're just gonna need that ultimate for the defense. Hopefully he's there before the Phoenix is down. It's already half, quarter, less, and the Phoenix is dead. There comes the Zeus ult. Maybe a little late, but already Baba and Midman on the Bakasura get a kill.
all ults down for
Oh my
Panic at
gosh.
the Discordia, but it might not matter.
It might
They're,
not. That was
they're pushing
three.
the Titan here.
They are.
And,
It's half health. Oh my gosh. He gets another kill.
and
Armor
they
Wolf gets
finish it off with
another
the
kill. That is a flat deicide. That is Titan down. That is game 2. Going to Panic at the Discordia. They win the set and decisively 26-3. Wow.
and I think just 4 minutes quicker than the last set, or than the last match. So they really,
Just
for games that have tended to go quite late, this was a pretty cut and dried pair of games.
it
I
was
think
the acceleration on this one was
yeah.
crazy.
I think in the first game we had to owe it in large part to the Freya just getting off to such a great start. In the second game, the Bakasura and the Chernobog both just
Yeah.
doing some heavy lifting.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, like 3 of the players. I'll tell you what, fantasy. The fantasy teams are going to go nuts for this Panic at the Discordia because 3 of the players didn't die at all. Um, like these KDAs look insane. There's so many assists. Like obviously there's a lot of team participation in these kills. These aren't just like 1v1s or individual stomps. I really feel like You Got Diffed played good. They played good and defensively, and they didn't give up too much, and they managed to hold their own and respond in kind a lot right up until that about 15, 16-minute mark. And then just the gas pedal got pushed to the floor and through the floor. And then they just started running Flintstone style because they just took off with it. The kill over and right turned into Fire Giant and Pyro and then Towers, and they just took a Phoenix, and then that's it. As soon as one Phoenix is down, the Titan dies. That is how Panic plays.
Very clinical, very precise. I think as soon as we saw the end of that big fight in mid, which saw I think a 4-0 swing in favor of Panic at the Discordia, that from that point on it was all downhill. Um, I don't think they even, if I'm correct, I don't think they actually even got a kill after that point on the
Yeah,
side
because
of
they
you got dipped. So
they ended with 3 kills, and I'm sure they had 3 before that fight. They just
yeah,
couldn't find any individual target to take out. I think
yeah,
that it's partly because of aggro trading. It's partly just because of the lead. The damage was so good coming out of these players. It's what can you do once they start just building up a full head of steam and just going full
yeah.
blast.
23k damage out of that Chernobog. Um,
Mhm.
just averaging slightly more than 1,000 damage per minute. So that's pretty impressive, no matter which way you look at it.
It really
Um,
is, and the
yeah,
numbers don't lie. And I think if we take just a minute and take a look at the wards again, I just got to point out, Panic had the lead all game. They got the first blood. There was some responses, but it never really swung back, and You Got Disfavor. Still, tons of wards coming out of Panic. Probably
yeah,
mostly offensive wards, but tons of wards coming out. And so I just don't know how you can be behind, you could be 4 levels down and then not place more than a couple of 4 wards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'd think after the first game and the ward difference there that they would have made some adjustments, but I guess that's something to work on for next week's set. So, uh yeah, just a clean win overall by Panic at the Discordia.
Clean win overall. Well, I checked to see if there was any requests for interviews, and there aren't. So I think that this one pretty much speaks for itself. The play was clear that Panic is right now, from my perspective, the team to beat. I think they're undefeated at the moment. They keep going. They are doing a lot at this moment. And so I want to see these other premier teams, great players. I want to see what their response is to this and if they can crack the code on how to beat this team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to future games when we see maybe some more of those adjustments come through and just little micro tweaks to kind of improve the overall game.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful that we didn't see a Freya in game two. I'm glad that at least that adjustment was made.
That
Um,
was definitely one answer. So you
if
just got to remember, ban Freya, ban Bakasura, ban Horus, ban Chernobog. Make sure you get all of the assassin bans, Nemesis and Kali, and then you can beat them, guys. It's easy. I don't see the
right,
problem.
yeah, when you put it that way, it really does seem very cut and dried.
It's
Um,
simple. It's simple, really.
if I had to give a props or a commendation for the game, I will say the Morrigan in game one, that was frankly some of the
Yes.
best Morrigan gameplay I've seen in recent years.
Surprising as well.
Yeah,
I
pleasantly
wasn't sure
surprised.
about that matchup. I wasn't sure how well that was going to be effective. Managed to have a ton of damage. Managed to get a lot of kills and be very effective in the rotations. This might be some new metas cracking out of these uh, brave and unusual play choices.
Brave and unusual play choices. Now that is a phrase that's going to get used quite a lot.
I
Uh,
hope so.
you're going to start a trend. Um, but yeah, I don't think I have too much more to add on this.
All right.
Great set to cast, certainly.
Well, absolutely a pleasure casting with you, Energy, and absolutely a pleasure working with you again, Tragic Fox. Great cam work, definitely amongst the best. So I'm just going to go ahead and say thanks for joining us, viewers. This has been a great time for me and for Energy. We've really enjoyed casting these games, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Continue joining us for these future HFDL matches, both in the Premier and the Challenger League. Thank you again. I'm Nathan DePaulo. Say goodbye, Energy.
And I'm Energy, and I hope you all have a wonderful night.